Fam, gather around though, because the story I'm about to share with you is absolutely not what I signed up for when I went for admission screening. Imagine going to bathe on Sunday morning before going to church, and the next thing is you're about to hear police siren as your soundtrack for the day. That was exactly what happened to me. On today's episode of Storytime with Goodness Ezeh, I'm going to share an absolutely crazy story of something that happened to me by chance and almost landed me in deep, deep trouble. And also the miraculous way that God saved me from this problem. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Goodness Ezeh. This is Storytime with Goodness Ezeh, and here we share stories. This is a channel where we who love telling stories and listening to stories indulge ourselves. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel if you're new. Click on the notifications button so that you get notified when there's new content on the channel. Okay, so quick background into this story. I mean, if you're conversant with the education situation in Nigeria, you know how gaining admission into universities, especially federal universities, can be a headache, right? So this was in the year 2018. I had just finished my A-levels and I was seeking for admission into the University of UNIUYO in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Now I wrote JAMB, I got a good score, and I was supposed to go to the University of UNIUYO to have a screening, pre-admission screening. Now, the very interesting story was that I stay in Lagos, and UNIUYO is quite a distance from Lagos. And that day I was traveling with a guy who I hadn't actually even known long before that time. But, he was also an aspiring student in the same university. So we just decided to travel together. Now, the journey by road from Lagos to UNIUYO is quite a distance. I think it's about 10 to 12 hours, if I'm not mistaken, right? And, we set out very early in the morning. We got to UNIUYO very late at night. I think we arrived about 10 p.m. thereabouts, and we couldn't go to the place we're going to spend the night, so we decided to sleep at the park. Now, the next morning when we're about going to where we're going to stay, I realized that they had stolen my phone at the park, and it was a lot. So that was literally like a baptism of fire, getting into UNIUYO. Now, that day was a Thursday. We went to the house that we're going to stay, which was the friend of the guy that I was traveling with. It wasn't someone, again, like I said, it wasn't someone I knew before that day. Now, the place we were staying was like a one room, sort of. It was just one room, right? That's where all three of us were staying. And they didn't have a bathroom. Like, the room itself didn't have a bathroom, right? If you're in Nigeria, when that classic face my face you house, right? And the bathroom they had in the house, first of all, wasn't a very clean bathroom. In fact, it wasn't a very clean bathroom at all, right? And it was just the one bathroom that everybody in that compound was sharing. So, we weren't too comfortable. We now, Lagos boys, weren't too comfortable using that place to, bathe. We tried as much as possible to avoid using it. But now, fast forward to Sunday morning, we wanted to go to church. And obviously, we can't go to church without having our bath. So we're like, oh, let's try and bathe. So now, this my guy that I was with, he told me that, he has a friend who stays in the hostel of the school, right? And, he was going to reach out to the guy and tell the guy that, hey, we want to come and bathe in the school hostel. Is it allowed? Can we do that? And then the guy said that, it's not really allowed, but if you just come in, bathe, and go out quickly, nobody will really notice. They'll just think you're a student. So we're like, let's do that. And again, it was Sunday morning. We didn't expect that there would be so much, issue with that on a Sunday morning. So that beautiful Sunday morning, myself and my friend went to, we didn't go with anything. We didn't go with phones. Of course, like I said, my phone was stolen. He didn't go with his phone. We just went with a towel and went to the hostel, right? Got to the hostel, we went inside, we bathed, and we were about stepping out. Now, while we were stepping out, the moment we got to the common room, about to get to the entrance of the hostel, a man stopped us. And then he asked us to identify ourselves. That's, show him our student ID card. Of course, we're not students. And then, of course, we had to tell him that we're not students. And he was like, then who are you? And what are you doing in the school hostel? And we were like, we just came to have our bath. And he was like, you are not students. And, immediately the guy started to, ask us questions, and we were just trying our best to answer the questions. Like, who are you? We came to, we're aspiring students. We came for the screening, which is holding in a few days from now. And, where we are is not so conducive. So we just came to have our bath. Now, unknown to us, the previous night, there was a theft. I think it was, I'm not sure if I'm getting this fact correctly, but I think it was the ICT center. Apparently some cultists broke in and stole computers or something from the ICT center thereabout. And apparently they were on the search for the guys, right? It also seemed like the security guys were under pressure to like find the guys who stole it. So they were ready to just literally pick up anybody who looked like the thieves and assume that they were the thieves. Now, unfortunately for me, at the time I had full hair, like my hair was really full, right? And not just that, because I had just finished bathing, not just that my hair was full, my hair was also quite rough. So it looked like dreads. Like I said, I was just coming out of the bathroom, so I hadn't even combed the hair. It looked so rough. And then the man just assumed that we were the thieves, we were the cultists, myself and my guy, right? And then he started drilling us. We're just trying to tell him, no, sir, we're not who you think we are. We're just, and then the man just, got all violent at us, and he was so convinced that we were the thieves. He asked us, okay, if you say you are a student, where is your document? We're like, we just came to bathe. We can't be carrying documents around with us. I was like, okay, show me the soft copy on your phone. Like I said, my phone was stolen at the park. His phone, he left it behind. All right. So like we had no evidence. We had nothing to prove that we were not the cultist. And look at me with my hair looking all spiky and that, trying to tell him that, no, sir, I'm not a cultist, And the guy, apparently the guy was this chief, I think the chief security officer of their security agency. There's a name they used to call it in the university. I can't remember. And the guy started calling some of his guys and say, "Oh, come, we've caught some of those boys. We've caught them. They were at the hostel, And then some of the guys also, and some of his guys came around to and looked at his hair, and looked at my hair and said, this one looks like a cultist. He's the one. And the CSO was like, hey, I said it. He's the one. I was like, I'm not the one. I just came to bathe. And then it got all crazy. The guy, told us that they would, take us to the police station. He called the man that was going to bring the van, like the van that was going to take us to the police station, to show how serious it was. And the guy was already coming to take us to the police station. And then he gave us a phone. He asked us to call, so he asked us for our parents' number, right? I can't remember if he asked the other guy, but he asked me for my parents' number. And like I said, it was Sunday morning. I gave him my mom's number, right? My mom was in church, or was just about, my mom was in church that morning when he called her. So she didn't, take the call, right? So it was like, see, the person number you gave me I said, today is Sunday. She's probably in church. The man was, went all crazy or not. Like I said, there was nothing that I could have said that would prove that was not the case. Nothing at all. Like nothing. We didn't have any evidence to prove that we were not, cultists, that we were aspiring students. And coupled with the fact that these are guys who are angry that there was just a theft that their security operatives could not stop, they were prepared to just pick up any scapegoat. And luckily for them, they got two ready-made scapegoats. So at the point where the guy called the man driving the van to take us to the police station, I knew that was it. Like I knew that there's no escaping this. I have landed in hot trouble. And I remember I just stood there under my breath. I just started praying. I'm like, God, save me from this problem. Under my breath, I just started praying. Like, God, please save me from this problem. Like, I have come to the end of myself. I literally don't know what to do. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I've not said. And you would not believe how God saved me out of this problem. Now, let's cast our minds back to Thursday evening when I just arrived at UNIUYO. At the park, when we got off the bus, I sat down just at the park with my load, and then there was a guy sitting next to me. The guy was a little bit creepy. I found him a little bit creepy even, because he just kept asking me questions. He just kept asking me different questions, like, what's my name? I said, yeah, my name is Goodness. And like, oh, you came you came for the screening. He was like, yes, I came for the screening. And then I took my face away. And then it was like, oh, that's fine. What course do you want to study? I mentioned the course. And, he just kept asking me questions. And to me, I'm like, oh, God, I'm tired. Why are you disturbing me? But the guy just kept asking me questions. And then after some time, he told me his name and then he just left. Now, while all of the probing was going on in the hostel where, we were just there, the man was, insulting us and getting all violent and, calling everybody. I just noticed that there was this guy in the corner of that same common room where we were. The guy was just there watching us. He was just there and he kept staring at me. And of course, I was in so much trouble. I couldn't even bother about any guy staring at me. But the guy just kept staring at me. And, so during the period where we were waiting, in fact, the van had arrived. I remember the van had arrived. It was like a white van or so. The van had arrived and stopped in front of the common room when the guy just called me and asked me, said, what day again did you say you arrived at Uyo? I said, on Thursday. Oh. It's like, wait, on Thursday around so time. I said, yes, around that same time. It's like, wait, are you not the one I was talking to at the park on that same Thursday night? And then I thought, and then interestingly enough, he was wearing the same shirt that he was wearing that day. So I looked at him and said, yes, so you are the one. Oh, you are the one. You are the one. I'm the one. You are the one. I'm the one. And then I'm just, yes, I'm the one. I'm the one. And then the guy was like, hey, and then the guy went to meet the CSO and told him that, that it was at the park that day that he actually saw us. We arrived at the park that day that he was asking me, and I said I was a student, and, so I basically answered my question so that my story checks out. And then the CSO, a little bit deflated, looked at him, looked at me, and then asked the guy, oh, show me your own ID card. And then he showed the CSO his ID card. Apparently the guy was even maybe one of the hostel representatives or something. So his word counted for a lot. And then the CSO, like I said, a little bit deflated, looked at me and I was like, yeah, so see, there's evidence now. It's Thursday. I arrived on Thursday. See, I'm not a cultist. And then after some time, the CSO tried my mom's number again. She still wasn't picking. And then he just told us to leave, So we started walking. As both of us left the common room, we're walking small. The moment we were out of sight, we just started running. We absolutely started running because let them not call us back and say, oh yeah, you people should come back or something. That was the story. And every time I remember that story, I just think of how God miraculously saves his people. Oh my God. Like God knew I would have a problem before I had the problem. And even though the guy was so creepy, God just orchestrated that a guy would be at the park the exact same time I entered the state, and he will be asking me all those questions. And apparently he will be the one that will eventually save me from landing in jail for a crime I didn't commit. And that's the note I'm going to end this video on. That situation you are in, if there's anybody who can bring you out of it, it's God. I know this is a hilarious story, crazy story, right? But who knows where it would have been? I mean, this is Nigeria. I could have landed in jail that day. They'll force me to write a statement, admitting to a crime that I did not commit, and then lock me up. And that would be it. I wouldn't be here. But God saved me. God saved me. And God can save you too. God can save you from problems. God can save you from trouble. God can save you from sin. God can save you from poverty. God can save you from confusion. God can save you from depression. God can save you from everything that seeks to take your joy, to take your peace, to take your life. God can save you. He absolutely can. You better believe that God can save you. That's our story for today. Quite a hilarious story. I think it's fitting that it has such a poignant ending. Like the video, share to your friends, subscribe to our channel, click on the notifications button if you are new, and so that you get notified when there is new content on the channel. My name is Goodness Ezeh. This has been Storytime with Goodness Ezeh. Adios.